I will close this one real quick. And yeah, guys, we will start with Substance Painter. I will go over the process of my daily work as a texture artist step by step, with a lot of tips, just lots of them, and I will make everything in my comfortable pace. Yeah, so it will be kind of hard to follow along, but you can try, and you need to make some steps in advance. The software that we will use will be Substance Painter if you don't have it, because Substance Painter is very great for creating color base, changing colors real fast, and for PBR texturing. If you don't have it, you can use Blender with plugin codes. I actually discovered it recently. That's fine. Just one moment, guys. I'll need to connect my tablet. Yeah, you can see I have it right now. Also, I need to take this glove. Yeah, only true 3D artists will understand what it is. Yeah, so if for some reason, actually, I can understand this. If you're using Blender, you can use plugin code, I think something like OK Paint to create color base. And that's completely fine. Like the result will be literally the same. And let me know in the chat if you know about this plugin. But anyways, we will start with Substance Painter, then texture painting in 3D Code and in Photoshop. It's kind of industry standard pipeline if we talk about very detailed textures, like the most detailed textures like you see in Wayfinder, in League of Legends, Warcraft, games like this. Yeah guys, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them. I will answer them later. Okay, anyways, everything will be recorded, so let's start. First of all, you need to open Substance Painter, you go to File, New, and you need to upload the model. That it will be FBX file, just need to upload it here. Here you can choose resolution, then we go to import baked maps, and we need to add all of the maps that we got from HiPoly model. Let's select all of them, and yeah, just actually edit them. I already have them, so you click on OK, and that's it. Then we go to texture set settings, and we need to select every map. By the way, guys, let me know if you're a kind of beginner and you haven't tried this pipeline, or you already have experience in 3D. So it will be very useful to know. Anyways, let's actually select all of the maps. Normal, you can follow just normal. World space, ID map. Yeah, here we have. Vertex color ID is the same. Then ambient occlusion, curvature, where we have it, yes. And we don't have position, as always, for some reason in our studio. And also, if you notice, the top part is missing also for some reason. When you work in game dev, the stuff is always missing, for some reason. Every time we have some issues on 3D model and so on. But it looks pretty nice. By the way, guys, you got this model for complete free, which is great. You can practice later on it. Okay, we go to bake mesh maps, and we need to select position map, okay? Just click on position and check all of the maps on the position, bake selected textures. Yep, I think we have it. No, for some reason we don't. Let's actually make it again. Position, see log details. What the hell is this? I have no idea why I can't. For some reason, I can't bake the position. Okay, I need to choose this model here. Yeah, and then click return to painting mode. Now we have position. Very nice. Okay, I will answer some of the questions, and then guys, we literally need to move on because like I literally need to texture this guy. Also, damn, I forgot to share the concept with you. That's very bad, guys. I'm sorry for this. So we use pure ref. Maybe you can take a screenshot right now. One moment. I will try. Can I just take a screenshot? Yeah. For some reason I can't. Yep, guys, just one moment. I will try to share it. Boom, boom. Yeah, I will close live stream just to see it. No, wrong window. Damn. Just one moment. What can we make? Yeah, this is very bad, guys. I have no idea how this. The hell is this? Okay, we'll have just a black screen. I'll find it real quick. Sorry for this. Just 1 second. Yeah, I'll share it in the Discord. Yep, nice. Right now you'll see it in Discord. You can install the concept. Usually we use puref for the concept. Maybe I won't use it too much here. By the way, to close puref, you just need to press Ctrl M. I hope we won't spend much time on some weird stuff, and I'll actually show you some useful tips. Yeah, so I don't like to copy everything from the concept, and also it won't be possible if you have something like this. As a texture artist, you need to add way more details. And also, I won't pick the colors right from the concept. Okay, guys, I will just take a pause to answer some questions. Engineering from high poly model. But how do we make those maps? You just need to bake this information from high poly model to low poly after sculpting. It's a huge topic as well. Texturing itself is a huge topic. Like, takes some time to learn, especially the detail texturing. That's what I want to show right now. Modeling, yeah, it's a separate topic. We'll also have a workshop about this. Yep, you can use this model, but I suggest to mention RStudio, of course, because this model was made by N-hance. Yep, you can access the live stream later. Okay, guys, I think we can finally start. Do you have a sculpting sessions? Yeah, we'll have them later with Adrian. Adrian is our 3D character artist, legendary 3D character artist, and mentor in our school. We'll have it actually maybe this month, I hope. Yep. Okay, guys, let's actually start creating this one. All we need is a concept here in puref or in a separate window, or I don't know, you can have it. Back then I had it in the phone, but this is a weird way. Anyways, here I have it, and after we actually load all of the maps, we need to create color base. Change here material to base color if you want to work with the textures. And one way to create color base, as I showed many times and many people already saw our plugin, but you can create color base yourself a bit later. So just to save the time, I will use our plugin, but how you create color base yourself, just add any kind of layer, but it should be darker. So let's pick actually the color of the skin of this creature, this one. So not very bright, never pick colors right from the highlights, because everything will be overlit. This is actually the brightest part that you actually need to paint later. If you want to create color base in Substance, you need to pick something darker, like this. Yeah, that's completely fine, maybe a bit more saturated. Okay, something like this, only then we copy this layer, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, or just Ctrl-D. You can name this layer, or you don't need to, like, really depends, it's up to you, doesn't matter to be honest. Then, it's very important, guys, every time you add brighter color in the texture, like in brush strokes, just brighter color, make sure to make it warmer. So change the hue, because the sun is warm, and that's why any brighter color will be warmer, okay? So we'll need to kind of shift it closer to yellow. So let's shift it like this. This is called hue shift. So this color is warmer than this one, obviously. And also our new color, which is brighter, this is color for the light. Just take a look. Even here, this is kind of sky blue color, this is purple. Like, it works both in the texture, in concept art. This is just basic art theory. So every time, shift the hue, warmer, brighter of course, and less saturated. Every light is a bit less saturated. but most importantly is to also make shadows more saturated. So in Substance you can tweak it. Okay, then right click at the black mask, right click once again, add generator and search for light. Just select light. You'll have something like this. If you add enough of these generators or you play around with this, you can actually get similar results. But yeah, it takes some time and we won't spend it right now. But oh, of course, also possible to make it. Also, Darina in other video, in our YouTube video, showed how to make it. Like for the teeth, you can see, like completely fine to create something like this. But I will use just simple diffuse. This is our custom plugin because it will just make everything way faster. Yeah, and it has some additional features. Then let me actually add it on top. Yeah, it's called Simple Diffuse. Some people already have it. Yeah, it will have kind of more lights and you can see the difference. It's just set up correctly, especially for the tail 3D models. Just save me plenty of time. Some people love it, many people actually love it. Some people don't understand, but it's really up to you guys. Just to speed up the work, I will use it. So right from this, I will go to diffuse. And by the way, don't worry, I will share the color base with you. If you don't have this plugin right now, I will just share it with you after this step. So later on it will be kind of a bit easier to follow in texturing, okay? So here we don't need to pick color for the highlights. Everything will be overlaid. Also, by default, you will notice that we have very warm shadows and ambient occlusion is very warm. Yep, that's why like we need to change the preset to rock. This way we'll get cold shadows, and this is great for any kind of cold material. So blue, purple, stuff like this. And later on, every time I suggest to make them more saturated here, and ambient occlusion should be just a bit more saturated as well. Yep, and let's change base color. Like in my work, I will literally kind of eyeball and pick it. But you can actually pick it from the concept. If you pick something like this, everything will be already overlit. This is not ideal result. It actually looks fine because of simple diffuse, because the light is correctly set up, and also we have very dark gradient from the bottom in simple diffuse that some people don't see. So yeah, we have gradient here from the bottom by default. So it looks kind of fine. But in most cases, you don't need to pick colors. You don't need to pick kind of the brightest color here. Pick kind of in the middle, and your color base should be a bit darker. Because it's way easier to paint light later, or to add light, than to add shadows. So pick something like this. Actually, let's make it brighter. Let's kind of eyeball it. I think this will be fine and a bit more saturated. Let's just eyeball. So at this point, I always tell this, just eyeball a lot in this case. Yep. Okay, guys. I will actually make it a bit brighter. You can kind of keep these values in this range. I think that's fine. Also, by default, in my opinion, sometimes simple diffuse is too bright in the light. So go to base light and change it to 0.1. Something like this. I prefer to keep less contrast. Like over time I learned that we need to keep less of the contrast. Don't rush with values. Don't make curvature look like this. So even though the model is very soft, it's a huge mistake if you have this kind of curvature. Of course, depends on the project, but it's way better to keep it more organic like this. So you can even see the difference. It's not cool. And also same for the light. Never add stuff like this. Make sure to check your color base. So keep everything organic. You need to add light later. Yep, that's almost it, guys. By the way, we're missing this part, but that's fine. Actually, let me remove these layers. The best part about Simple Diffuse, it's also very heavy compared to adding lots of the layers. I will copy Simple Diffuse by Ctrl D. Right click at the black mask. Then let's actually go to the color layer. I mean to Simple Diffuse. And let's change preset right now to default. Okay, then you have option if you need to substance to select color or to select black mask. Select black mask, right click, and add color selection if you have ID map. Here you can easily kind of mask the object based on the ID map, and you need to make it before, of course. So pick it. Now we have teeth like this. You can see I changed the preset to default because they are very warm. And I will literally remove saturation, just like this, to achieve literally the same result. And make it a bit brighter. So actually eyeball. At this point, I don't know, doesn't really matter, it's just a teeth, guys. Nice. And yeah, just a chill workflow. We don't need to rush, but on this workshop we had to. We don't have much of the time. Yep. Then we need to kind of add gradient here. I want to add this purple gradient. I will actually also eyeball it. Or maybe I can pick it. No, the stretch. You can see right away looks so bad. So let's actually change the hue kind of in the natural way, like this. Of course, make it more saturated, way more saturated. And this observation skill and any kind of other skill, of course, you will learn over time, because right now I noticed that textures are too dark. For example, you can notice these textures, like they darken the model. And let's actually make it brighter and even a bit more saturated. It should be very soft. Maybe ambient occlusion is too dark as well. No, it's fine actually. So something like this is fine. Then right click, and in this case we don't have color selection. I will use big brush in substance. Wait, what did I add? So sorry, I forgot to mention. I right click on this, I add a paint, and yeah, with paint you can press on 1 to select the brush, press on 4 to select polygons if you need to select by polygons, but in this case just press 1, and with huge brush, which will be very soft, you need to go over this. And I hope in this workshop I will try to explain some main principles that you can literally apply in any software. Doesn't matter where you start, where you paint. I will talk about a bit about brushes a bit later. Why do we have so many messages in Discord, guys? Yeah, hello. Bake textures are right there. Why do we need to bake textures? You don't need to bake textures, but yeah, that's kind of old question, but you don't need to, you just need to select. You only need to bake position map. And you can bake it in literally, like, you can even bake it on low poly model. Yep. What can we make here? I don't know, for some people this process is boring, for some it's actually fun, but in this case, we literally need to replicate big gradients that we see right here. I'm making it in a very dirty way, like this. Yeah, might looks a bit. Wait, why the hell we don't have? Yeah, I think this is kind of different type of creature that we have. Like it's not kind of the same as the concept, but that's fine. I'm just here to show how to texture it. And later on you can apply these principles on your 3D models. Yeah, you can see that kind of part of the leg is in this gradient. So let's just increase size of the brush. This way it will be very softer. It will be very soft. Boom. And let's actually, we need to separate, I think, these gradients based on the muscles. So we have, wait one moment. We have separate muscle here. So let's kind of fill it with one color and leave this one with blue. Yeah, just like this. And let's just go over maybe this. Yeah, I'll try to keep it very soft. Maybe we can also add some gradient like this. I prefer to go over it anyways later, And sometimes you don't even need to make it in Substance, because for me it's not that comfortable to even paint here, even though I tried. I really tried my best, guys. Okay, definitely you can press on X to switch color to black and to kind of paint over here and remove it, for example, from the shoulder, remove it from here, and also I will remove it from the lip. I will actually make it in the separate color, even though we don't have it in the concept. Yeah, guys, wait until we will get to hand paint texturing. It will be even more interesting. No, I don't like this part. I will actually press on X to kind of blend it, leave very subtle gradient, just like this. That's fine. Go to the color if you want to change it. That's the good thing about Substance Painter, that you can literally change it. It's very procedural, just like this. Like you can change it to any color or to add even more contrast, like how you want. I will make it darker, just like this. Then definitely we need to actually make color for this. Let's mask them. Yeah, guys, that's why I thought that this workshop might take some time if I will try to make my best kind of from complete scratch. Actually, let's go to here to UVs and I will literally paint over it, just like this. I don't even care about these nails. I'll kind of just paint over it. Yep. And also in the opposite side here as well. If we'll have any seams, it will be possible to fix them later. Yep. Yep, that's fine. We kind of make this block out right from UVs. Now we need to pick color for these nails. Just copy this one by Ctrl D. Yep, and then what we need? We need to pick color selection. Pick them. Sorry, I need to move. So I just pick the nails by color selection. I'll go back. And this color is actually darker. At first we need to analyze it. It's kind of the same color, but it's darker, yeah. So if you make it like this, it will be already similar. It's way more saturated, and usually every darker color that you have, it will be a bit more saturated. It's kind of the principle of art theory. And it's not purple, it's closer to brown or red. You can kind of eyeball it. So what do we need? We can kind of actually shift it here and make it even darker. Yep, I think something like this is fine. What else? What else? Yeah, we have kind of the same color for ears, so we can save our time. Go to the mask, right click, add paint, and let's just paint over them. By the way, if you see, if I paint, it's not even the same color, it's kind of orange. Not exactly what we need. So I'll copy this layer once again. And it's actually warm, it's red. Never mind. So on the separate layer, I'll add paint only for the ears. So for the color base, you need to copy these layers for literally any kind of object, any kind of separate color that you have. So later on you can control it. And yeah, this is kind of not the easiest model to pick. Maybe this workshop will be a bit more advanced. But that's fine, guys, you can watch it later. Yep. That's nice. We have 97 people, guys. Very nice. You can see, like, even with this brush, it's very easy to kind of block it out. And to make it fast, you don't need to make the brush too small. You only need to use small brush for very detailed results, and for hard brush strokes, if you kind of need to achieve soft gradient, you need to increase size of the brush. And literally in any software it will be possible to achieve. Let's say I want very slight soft gradient here. I will literally increase size of the brush as much as I can, and I will tap slightly. You can see the brush, it has very soft gradient. Obviously, if I decrease the size of the brush, make it smaller, we will use it only for very sharp detail. So if you want to achieve this soft result, just make sure you have kind of medium size of the brush like this. And yeah, here it's pretty simple. I will actually change it to default real fast. It's cute. And because in default preset we have warm shadows. Yeah, and let's kind of shift it like this. Nice. Fine. Maybe a bit darker. I can always tweak it, and I won't kind of copy exact like process like in the concept. I will try to move on a bit faster. Yep. Okay, I notice we'll definitely push this part. I know if you have some experience, guys, you definitely think this part looks lame, but we will improve it. No worries. One thing where we have this color. One thing, I'll actually remove some color literally from the lip. And later on, I will add ambient occlusion below it to give it more volume. Yeah, I will kind of have something like this. I went around teeth, so we kind of have these curvy patterns around teeth. That's completely fine. Already, it's kind of already looks like something, finally. Later on, what do we need? We actually need to have these spikes in the same color. So let's click on this one, right click, color selection, select the spikes. Yeah, we need to put this color selection below because it will override all of the information, and then we need to put paint on top. So if you have color selection on top, just put it below. Yep. And then of course, finally, actually I would like to push some of these arms, maybe tail, but we don't have time for this. I'll probably make it in where I will make it. I will make it in 3D code or in Photoshop. Or you can follow along in Substance in Blender, doesn't really matter. Principles are the same. Let's copy this teeth color, go to color selection, remove this color, pick color for the eyes, and we need to make it orange. As well, I will go to default. By default, it's almost orange. I'll just pick main color. I'll make it like this. And you can see we have light on the top, so we can rotate it a bit. So we have it right in the center, just like this. Very nice. Very nice for the color base. What else? We have some spikes here that we need to select. Wait, so where is it? Yeah, it's here. For some reason, we didn't select it. Oh yeah, I see why. Because damn, that wasn't a good idea. So I will copy this layer once again. Yeah. I don't suggest to mix paint with color selection in one mask. So I just copied the layer, now we have the spikes everywhere. I noticed that arms or legs are kind of a bit darker. We can also add it later. I also noticed we have actually purple gradient like literally from the bottom on these legs. So literally like this. So let's definitely add it just like this all over the legs. Yep. Later on I will tweak it a bit. And now we need to change the tone. Once again, just copy simple diffuse, remove everything, pick on this from the color selection. Now you can play around with this. You can see for some reason that happens a lot. We don't have normal here. Theory. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any questions because I was actually texturing for a bit and I forgot that we have a live stream. Let me know if you have any questions and just type in the chat plus if you can hear me and maybe if you follow along. Just to check if we have everyone here. For beginner to the artist, experience on the learning process for beginner. If you already have experience in 2D, it will be pretty easy for you to switch to this kind of texturing. And I hope after this workshop as well, and after some tutorials even from the YouTube. So the principles are the same. You need to create color base, and then we'll detail it in a very specific way. Loud and clear. Simple diffuse, you can just Google it if you want. I have it, oh, I have a link somewhere maybe on Discord, in the main Discord, but sorry, I can't share it right now. But simple diffuse, you can make it your own, and I have a separate video about this. And Darina also covered it in one of the videos. Darina is also a texture artist right now. Before she was working as a 3D artist. But it will take some time. Yeah, I already showed guys literally like literally 10 minutes ago. I showed how to make it without. So it's kind of the same. You just need to add like generators and play around with them in order to fake this result. Kind of like similar to simple diffuse, but I will share this color base so you can follow along. Even if you don't have it, I will share it. So no worries. Okay guys, I think we can start. I also noticed that the skin color is too bright actually. So go back. Yeah, definitely. Make it darker and everything became just way better. I can see it already. Like right from this. Don't push it too bright, because before it kind of was too bright. It was similar to the color of the highlight. This is not a good idea. And yeah, what else? So here we have this color for ton. From this moment, I will actually make it pretty fast. In this case, because we don't have normal, I will make the shadows a bit more visible, so make it darker. And also we can control shadow power here, kind of like this. And then we can change opacity, for example. So make it bigger, reduce the opacity a bit more. You can play around, but make sure your texture has a volume every time. If you have something like this or just a flat color, this is not a good idea at all. It won't work. And also let's copy this layer once again to texture the mouth itself. Let's make it just way darker, more saturated, a bit closer to red. And right click, add the paint, and we'll just paint inside. No, so bad. So I will put it on the layer below, and I'll just paint inside, and it's better I think to make it on UVs. Yeah, here we have it. Here we have one part of it. And where do we have another one? Damn. I literally forgot how to move in Substance Painter. That's also very fun part of the 3D artist work or texture artist. You don't really need to know buttons. That's the cool part. All you need is to kind of the process, especially if you watch the workshop by Darina. Like Darina was a beginner 3D artist, but she managed to like pull the greatest result. Literally by copying and playing around. Sometimes artists will use like the most basic tools ever just to achieve the final result. So it doesn't really matter will you paint everything in Substance later on. My goal is to kind of show you the principles and tools in order to achieve it. and mistakes that you can avoid. For example, making color base too bright. You can see kind of even these teeth, they look very bright in the concept, but we don't need to make it like this. By the way, how many minutes do we actually have? Damn, we already 47 minutes in this workshop. I think we need to move on. So yeah, stuff takes some time, but this way with color base we can actually make it pretty fast. Let's actually go over here. I'll make it even darker. Just like this. I would like to push, I want to show you how to actually push this texture a bit. What can we make? I usually like to separate parts based on the muscles. So if you have different muscles, let's say lips. In general, even for humans, lips are a bit darker and colder. Or let's say we have this shoulder muscle or biceps. You can kind of select it based on the color and you can separate it a bit. So how it works, let's actually copy this first layer, make it a bit darker, and every time we'll make it darker, just a bit more saturated. Okay, something like this, yeah? Then hide it, add the black mask. Now, there are options. Of course, the part, like for example, if the shoulder is on top, it makes sense to make it brighter. I'm just showing you just for demonstration. Like if you want to play around and make the texture a bit more interesting, just separate everything based on the simple parts or based kind of on the muscles, stuff like this. For example, nose could be a bit brighter, even though we don't have it much in the concept. Concept is actually raw. In this case, the shoulder, I will make it brighter. I'll make it brighter and warmer, even like this. You can see it's completely different color, yeah. I'll add it here as well, kind of on the nose, but I will change the opacity. Damn, it's a bit extreme. Something like this can work, even though this is very slight adjustment. Also, I will once again copy this layer below. Let's actually make it darker. Purple, just darker. We have ibex. Notice in the concept we don't have it, but you can kind of add it just a bit in the color base. The model is, it's not that complex. And we need to add something here. So at least to kind of break it down. So let's even make it more saturated, way more saturated. Even like this, that's fine, because we'll change the opacity. Black mask. Let's actually go over this part. I press on the square brackets to change the size of the brush, and I will select this part. And for example, I will make it just a bit darker. And I think this part on top as well. You can see a very small difference, but it actually will add a lot to the texture. Nice, nice, exactly what we need. And also lips. We don't have it in the concept, but we definitely need to make this part around the teeth. You can see it even has some volume. So let's actually make it just a bit darker. Go over this. Damn, I hope it won't crash. Yeah, cool, it's fine. And let's actually, I will make some simple trick. Yeah, this is fast trick. I went a bit below to create the volume. So we already had color and I went like from the bottom, I painted from the bottom. You can see the difference in order to create volume. So right now we have kind of flat color and I added shadow below, just like this. This way you can actually create color base. You can literally add as many of these layers as you can. You can literally go over. If the style of the project is a bit simpler, you can literally make it. Like literally by copying and even painting some simple stuff like this, like the way I painted here. Just need a bit some time, you know, and just some time to make it a bit cleaner. Also notice this part is just damn way darker from the bottom. And also let's just Let's copy this layer. I think at this point I'm just copying random layers. Let's make it very dark, very dark. Paint a bit, illusion, dark. Paint, and yeah, I needed this very saturated color from below, and I would like to also separate this part. You see, we can also separate it with different colors. Doesn't matter where you make it, in Blender, like in Substance, in 3D Code, but it's not possible. I think that why I'm using Substance, because it's just more comfortable for me and for most of the people. So let's also change the opacity here. Alright, we're finally getting closer to the result that we need. Kind of usually getting closer, step by step. Let's actually go over here as well. Guys, let me know what you think. It's literally getting closer. If you follow some of my old lessons, you'll notice that, yeah, we literally got it. Kind of. Of course, could be improved a bit more, but yep. And maybe I can add some purple color even here as well. In this part. Just slightly. It's barely visible, many people won't see it. Also, if you want, you can block this color in Substance, but I won't make it. Yep. So pretty straightforward technique that you can use just like this. Guys, let me know, and I think we'll move on to the next step. So the goal here was to create color base without much of the contrast, as fast as possible actually. Yep. And then we'll need to detail it a bit more. I will show you some techniques how to make it. Let me know, by the way, notice very tiny thing. I noticed this part, so let's also add it. Yeah, observation is something you kind of literally learn actually from the feedbacks. So when you get a feedbacks on the model, you clearly see your result. Like you can clearly see your mistakes and you can apply it. We have it on some courses actually. We have it only on texturing and 3D character art course. So yeah, this is basic observation. I didn't notice this part. Let's add it here. Literally this brighter part. Copy this layer, remove it. Let's make it brighter. Paint. And yeah. Can we see it? Yeah, we can barely see it, I think. Yeah, something like this. I don't know even how to, we have these small folds, can go over them, and a very small accent. Like if you have something to block, like to block with colors, I suggest to make it. I think we'll spend just 1 hour on it, and then just move on. Yep. Even like this. Yep, guys, from this moment, I don't really need a concept. Maybe I will later on go back to this, but right now I don't really need it. Because all we need is some design and texturing on top at first. Yes, and you need to actually save it. But as you can see, like, after some years of working, I don't really save this stuff, and I literally don't really name the layers, because this step is very fast for me. But if you want to texture it in Substance only, of course you'll need to save it. Hey guys, nice. We need to go right now to File, Export Textures, click on the material, here we have it. Click on this button, uncheck all, select only color, go to global settings, choose your path here, I don't know, just any folder you have and export it. Done. And you can also save Substance Painter. I will save it just in case. Alright guys, let me know if you're already here, if you're watching this. These steps, like, it's pretty slow, but later on it will be a bit more interesting, I hope. Because we're moving on to the actual hand paint. Yeah, that's fine if it's hard to recreate it exactly because it's a workshop and it's very hard to follow along and copy it right from the concept. Like you can copy kind of the principles and you can just learn and watch it later. That's completely fine, guys. It was hard for me as well. Yeah, it's good. So 3D code. The reason why I will use this program is because so far this is the best program for texture painting and many professional artists will agree. So you can use other softwares if you need to create kind of less detailed textures, but if we talk about stuff like that requires thousands of brushstrokes, you will definitely use 3D code. I will try to open some of the stuff that we have. Let's say character. I'm not sure what this one, maybe from the mentorship, but let's see. It will take just some stuff to load. Yeah, character, even though something like this is pretty simple, you can see the same workflow. We have color base, so it looks like this. And believe it or not, but for this character, it's even easier to create color base. We don't need to blend colors in between. So yeah, I remember we have this face. Sometimes we need to add very tiny, like barely visible details. Let's say in the eyes here. But even something like this, like, is possible in Blender or Substance. So let's actually open something a bit more detailed, in my opinion. Let's say this face. Yeah, the face from texturing course that we have. And you'll see kind of all of the steps. So yeah, like from the distance it doesn't look too detailed, but only when you zoom a bit closely and you see the actual level of detailization after, you can see after the color base. And take a look at this one. So sometimes you literally need hundreds, thousands of brushstrokes in order to blend the colors perfectly. And that's fine, it's easy to learn, and this is very universal skill. Sometimes you need it, for some projects you don't need this kind of detailization, but ideally for AAA games, we try to follow this. And the way it works, it's also will be very fast. So we have color base. First step, we'll detail it. So in this case, color base is pretty simple. So we'll detail it. Then we'll add gradients in Photoshop in a very specific way. I will show it in a bit. Then just some small fixes. Sometimes we need to add very minor, tiny details, even like this. Even though I made it actually fast. So small fixes, and then we need to add sand. And what do we have? Yeah, this is final post process. So the only reason is just way faster and a bit more detailed. When I joined the studio, they literally told me to install this one. Not because they love 3D code over some software, but just because this is kind of industry standard and this way will make it faster. But with Blender or with Substance, you can follow along. Anyways, in 3D code, I will show you quick setup if you haven't used it before. Make sure to disable everything that you have here, some weird stuff on the top. Go to camera, then background, and pick top color and bottom color for the gradient. Make sure you have something like this. So bottom color is a bit darker, more saturated. Yeah, we use tablet, of course. You can make setup like this, like the easiest software ever if you have the right tutorial to learn. This is literally the easiest software ever. Anyways, we actually need to drop the model here. So let's pick it. Oh, what the hell? Anyways, where do I have the model? Ah, yeah. Boom. Damn. What the fuck? Why do I have so many windows right here? No, this is our model. Okay, finally. Let's load it in 3D code. Import for pixel painting. And then here you choose resolution. You just press on OK. Then we need to upload our color base. So go to texture, import, and upload it. Right now, guys, I will share it in Discord. Just 1 second. Give me 1 second. I will share it. You can install it right from the Discord. Just save the image and you'll have it. Mm. Can you share the texture for 3D code? Yeah, guys, here we have it in Discord. Damn, we have 93 people, and we have like we need more people in the chat because we have 90 people, guys. Just let me know if you're watching this. Maybe I will recognize some of you, some of the followers, some of the guys. Because right now I can see only Adrian. You ask, do I use direct or OpenGL? Doesn't matter at all. Like literally doesn't matter. I almost forgot what does it mean. Like what the difference? Yeah, literally. I don't know. All I know is to how to texture this stuff. Okay, guys. Now I hope you installed the color base from the Discord. So let's press. In my case, I have Control I. I have a shortcut. To make a shortcut, let's say for this button, go to textures and import, and then select color to import the color base. Press on end or backs. No, wait. Yeah, we need to press on. Yeah, damn, I forgot this button. I think on end, and then press Ctrl I. So yeah, pretty straightforward. And let's select this stuff. Just select color base, press on 2. If you want to see wireframe, press on 4. Every time you paint, especially on low poly models, you need to press on 4. Now, guys, it's finally to texture this stuff, where we can literally edit the image, the texture, how we want. Yes, we need to export the maps from Substance to 3D code, but only color base, because 3D code is useful only for hand paint texturing or for topology sometimes, but doesn't matter. Yep. Yeah, I can see Ivan. Yeah, we'll have. No, of course we'll have the recording of the stream. Yeah, guys, let me know if you're actually watching this right now, and we'll start the next step. I'll wait for your comments. So here in 3D code, we can name the layers, can make anything. I use actually third brush, regular brush, that's it. And the best part of it, that I can zoom the model. So the biggest mistake that people don't usually zoom enough. Feel free to literally, like, if you need to detail something, just feel free to zoom very closely if you need it. And pick the comfortable angle, that's also important. Then, main principle, I use square brackets. So, square brackets every time. These square brackets to change the size. I literally learned it back then. You can also change it here. You can press on button on the pen, I mean on the tablet. Here we have button. But for me, like square brackets, it's just a way to go. I know many professional artists you will use it. And right now, this will be the detailing stage. I will rush a bit in this case just to show you. And here, this stage, if you have experience in any kind of traditional art, in painting, it will be very easy for you. And let's actually go over. First of all, I will try to create some volume literally from my head for the tongue. So we need to kind of split it in between. I will pick this color, and the best thing that you can make is to not to rush with the contrast. So don't even pick this color, don't paint over something like this, or don't add any new colors right away once you have something like this, because your first step will be detalization. I will just show you in a bit. So don't rush with the contrast if you want actually very detailed model. Instead, make something like this. So you can see, damn, I forgot to make it on the separate layer. Anyways, I will just take my time just to paint some stuff very slightly for you guys. I will just paint some volume that at first we'll barely see. Let's say stuff like this. So you can see it's before and after. Might be a bit extreme, but this is kind of our goal for a very detailed texture result. So we don't need to rush with the contrast, with any kind of details. Some people want to add, let's say, any kind of damage or additional color here. It won't work it. Let's say we want to add any kind of damage here. So I will pick this color for the shadow. I will paint it slightly. I don't need to leave it. I will pick color of the light that we already have in the color base. It's warmer, and I'll put it below here. Only then I will pick neighbor color and I'll cut it. So the design itself and painting techniques is something very complex at first glance, but we need to keep in mind just few principles. And principles like you can use these principles even if you don't have experience in painting at all. Because I started as a 3D artist without any experience at all. So let's actually talk about these principles. I talk about this many times. It really depends on the model. If the model is very detailed and you created correct color base, you don't even need to make a lot of hand paint details. That's the best thing. But if the model is less detailed, of course you will need to make it. And the first principle that you need to remove any kind of straight lines from the curvature that we have. Here we don't have that much, like literally we don't have it because color base is so nice. It looks so soft, like this result is already almost finished for any kind of game. I mean that's it. But if I will need to improve it, let's say this part. Even though as I mentioned, yeah, it's completely fine, but for most models, you'll find very straight curvature lines. Every time it looks horrible, and especially if it's very visible and straight, and you need to turn it to stylized patterns. Think about any kind of angles that you have, any kind of connections. Let's say this line is connected to this damage, yeah? So in this case, here specifically, we can kind of make this line a bit bigger and create the highlight right on top of it. And it all goes back to the art theory. We can also break this line. If you break it, I won't leave it like this. I'll actually pick this bright color and I'll kind of fill everything with light. And this way we can get a bit chunkier result. The lines will be bigger. Small tiny lines are horrible in any case. Damn, I forgot to actually make it on the separate layer. Never mind. So yeah, this is very small difference. It's very tiny. As I mentioned, we don't need to make it here, but I hope you get it. This is one way to improve your texture. Guys, let me know if it's useful, and we just follow. As well, never paint, like if you have the color base, even if you have low poly model, just create color base, never paint from scratch. No need. Literally never. Use Substance to create color base or use a blender with Oku Paint also to create color base literally the same way and simplify your life. Okay. By the way, for some reason we lost some details here. But what can we make? We definitely need to push this result with a bit more of the details. First of all, we need to think about the connection of any kind of objects that we see. Literally any kind of, for example, the teeth, to the skin, the nose, muscles that we have. We need to think about them, and usually we need to continue these details. So let me give you actually an example. So here we have this kind of lip. It looks, I mean, compared to these teeth, it doesn't look too detailed. So let's make it this way. I will pick the shadow color. I will continue it this way. New layer. Yep. I will put some volume on top of it, and I will paint around with the shadow. And here, guys, this is usually the skill if you're aiming at detailed textures. And this is necessary skill for like working in modern game dev industry if you talk about big projects. Actually, basic art theory. Okay, never paint something like this. So if you have a symmetry, try to hide it as you can, just like this. So in this case, I literally pick color for the shadow and I paint some patterns for the lip. Yep. Now we need to talk a bit how the volume is formed. I need to explain this for some people. Actually, yeah, this is the most important topic. So the way we guys, first of all, before moving on, because this is kind of complex, let me know if everything is all right, and we can move on. Ah, yeah, shortcut for color picker is V in 3D code. I think you can change it. Shell 3D code. It saves for pixel paint. Yeah, when you import the model to 3D code, just pick the first option, and that's it. Yeah, just pixel painting, and then texture, import this color base. Guys, let me know if everything is alright, and we'll move on. Meanwhile, madam. Okay, guys. Now, the most important part that we have right now is to how to actually paint volume. We have a separate exercise for this, and you can practice as well. Then, actually, the art theory is the most important part that we have in some YouTube tutorials, in course, of course. Like, this is literally the most important part. This is kind of what will get you the understanding, especially with the feedbacks. Everything else doesn't really matter. Like, you need to understand a bit of light theory, and then literally just some techniques where to place patterns, and how to place them, what tools to use. So I have actually very complex exercise. No, let's start with simple one. You can use lasso in any kind of software, let's say in Photoshop. I want to show you. So even if I have selection like this, some random one, let's say I can fill it with some brighter color like this. So we can see our objects in real life by, like, if we see the object in real life, it means that it will definitely have light side and shadow side. That's why if you have, let's say, a flat color without any dark or bright gradient, this is a huge mistake. You don't need to have it in the texture. Let's say if you want to add damage like this and you just fill it with one color just like this. So let's say if you have just one filled color like this and you think this fine for the texture, no, it's not. This is a huge mistake because it means that it has no light at all. But we every time we paint any kind of detail, doesn't matter, bright detail, dark detail. Let's actually paint bright detail here. Let's make kind of a simple dot like this. So it won't work. Every time we need to add a shadow or a light below it to make it more volumetric and to make it readable. In this case, we have this main color, we have brighter color. It means that light come from the top, it will touch this part, and it will spread along the surface. And only then it really depends what type of shadow we'll add. For example, pick this color, make it darker, a bit colder, and let's add very hard shadow below. Now guys, you can see we actually got volume, because we have clearly light side and we have shadow side. In this case, where everything is dark, we also need to add light side, because this will be our crack from the side. Light will touch this part. I need to remove the sound. Okay, so let's pick it and let's add light here on this side, where the light will come and it will kind of lit up this side of the crack. So let's add it a bit here, like literally inside, and then the most important part is to blend every color. Just keep this in mind. You'll have many questions, why exactly do I need to blend, but you need to definitely blend any kind of color with your main color, light, shadow. I can explain it a bit deeply, but at this stage doesn't really matter. So you can definitely see the difference here. It will look way more volumetric. In this case, it will work kind of as well. By the way, before this, I also need to explain it. What are highlights? Highlights are basically accumulations of light in the sharpest places. So pick this color, brighter, a bit warmer, less saturated, and in this case, it will be, let's say here, if you want to indicate the highlight, it will be on top of the shadow, just like this. It looks kind of like metal, and that's fine. So I decided to add the highlight. Every time you add additional color, let's say like this one, every time you can increase size of the brush and blend it together, or blend one side with the main color. This is another technique that I teach. You can watch other tutorials. Actually, it's not that hard to figure it out, but definitely hard to explain it in literally one workshop, especially if I want to texture this guy very fast. Also, the best thing that from the color base we already have light and shadow information. For example, here we have shadow, we have light. So we don't need to add much, actually. We only need to add highlights. So in this case, pick this color and add, let's say, highlight here, and let's say here, and let's turn them to different patterns like this. This way we'll kind of make this object a bit more rounder. So highlight is just additional light information. The highlight could be here as well, on this part. So this is actually, one moment, this is inner part of the crack, this is shadow. The highlight will be actually here, or even here. It really depends on the result that you want, but usually I prefer, or I can add it literally like this. Might seems a bit weird at first. Let's make this part a bit darker. But eventually, guys, just need some practice and you'll get it. Yep. Let me know what do you think. And this is actually some basic theory, very basic, that we need to follow. So we'll actually follow it the same way here. What the problem with this part? We have only two damn values. Like, it should be very detailed like this teeth, but on this part we have only two values, this one and this one. So at first, let's actually detail it a bit more. Also, let me show you how to detail. So you can literally paint any kind of thing here. Then you can pick neighbor color, and you need to press very slightly and use round move just like this to cut the brushstroke. I use it a lot in order to create stylized patterns. So for now, I'll hide it. Boom, boom. And we'll need to add some volume. As I said, the problem that it's too blurry and we have only one and two values. So let's introduce just a darker value. It's possible to make it with hand paint. Pick this one, make it a bit darker, and let's literally go over with a bit hard brush stroke. I'm pressing very slightly here. That's another reason why you'll probably need to use 3D code, because if you try something like this in Substance, just a bit painful, but yeah, you can try. And just take a look. I will add very slight shadow to literally indicate this part and to separate it with volume. Just take a look at this. You can see this is how it works. Let's separate it just like this. And this is kind of the way for very detailed hand paint without rushing too much. So don't pick a black color like this. Don't push it like this. I just slightly changed the color of it. Ideally, you already have all of the information from the color base, let's say this part. I will just add more lines here in order to make it a bit more detailed. And also I'll add it here. I just like to make stuff detailed, but not to over detailed. So no, don't add lines everywhere. This is very small difference before and after. So just need to detail it just a bit. Then if it's too blurry, you can pick this color, let's say darker color, and you can even go over it and you can kind of cut it this way. Yeah, right now a bit extreme, but this is literally the technique behind very detailed result. And this is exactly what we also teach in the N-hance School. But I will just mention it later. Right now let's focus on this one. Yep, guys. As you can see, this is what we need, and we actually need to go over everything just like this on this model in order to make it very detailed. Yeah, well, let's also go over this one. So the connection between this teeth and this one, it's weird. Like in most of the models, it's something that you can't change. It will be automatically every time. That's why sometimes we need to add hand paint details just for the additional layer of details. Damn. Sorry for this. Never mind. So let's kind of add a very small ambient occlusion around this, and you can see the difference. This is literally before and after detailization. And also additional level of the highlights of details. sorry for this. Additional level of details could be additional highlights. So we added shadow, but we also need to add highlights on top. So kind of light information in order to make it even more volumetric. So pick this color right there. That's it. And here we kind of have this big spot. So let's just add highlight on top, not in the bottom, literally on top, because light will come only on the top. Some people like to block it out. By the way, even if you're a concept artist, it could be very useful for you. So you can even add something like this roughly. Just like this. You can see literally simple touches. Sorry for this, guys. Yeah. And then after we made some simple touches, I prefer to blend it a lot. Pick this color, press lightly in order to blend it. Pick color that you got after you paint it a bit and blend it again. Yep. Something like this. Now I want to show you a very cool step after we got these details without rushing, with kind of highlights, with additional colors, without rushing them. Sorry guys. I'm almost dying right now. Yeah, this is only color. Sorry for this. Yeah. Okay, never mind. I will actually paint over it here a bit. And I will add highlight here as well. Okay, that's fine. So later on, we go to Photoshop once we have all of the details. Here we can change the layer. Damn guys, I don't know what happens. What the hell is this? I never actually drink Red Bull or any kind of energy drinks. It was a bad idea. I don't know, guys. My throat, I wasn't prepared for this. Let me eat something. Maybe I need to like keep the process silent, I don't know. Them so bad. So bad, boy. I never drink them. Only on workshops. Before, we had a 3-hour workshop as well. Maybe a few months ago. Yeah. Okay, just a small pause. Yeah, thank you guys. Actually, we have 71 people right now who are watching this. Or I was talking for a while, I don't know. That's crazy. I'm not sure that I will make it to the end. Anyways, here in Photoshop, just change the layer in order to see the preview where we have the details, because everything is like fucked up, we can see much. Click on wireframe layer, copy it by holding Alt. By the way, I forgot to mention, in order to move to Photoshop, you need to stop the connection. Go to File. Damn, I'm sorry for this. Guys, can you send me more bananas to my home, please? Anyways, go to File, Preferences, in Out, and choose Photoshop file. Then apply and save. Then, after we have it, just press on Ctrl P and you'll save all of the layers to Photoshop. Just like this. Hold Alt, copy wireframe layer, and here, when we have these details, like where we have these details, we can add gradients by simply using polygon OS. So once we have all of the details in place, without much of the contrast, we can finally push the model with gradients. I showed this many times, but I'll show it again. This is kind of OP trick. So pick it, pick this color, and I'll need to add ambient occlusion right from this selection, right from this lip to this material. Pick it, darker, more saturated, and let's just go over it, just like this. With a soft brush, I'll press slightly over the selection. I won't press like this too much, so press slightly over the selection with very soft brush in Photoshop. The reason why we use Photoshop, because brush here is very soft. And even in Substance, in Blender, we don't see these brushes. And some professional artists, they will use Photoshop as well, not 3D code, for example, to paint very organic objects like clouds or, I don't know, stuff like this. Or skin. Okay, then what can we make? We can deselect it. Let's actually load the ID map that we have. It will be a nice trick. So what we have? We have vertex color. Let's load it on top. Yep. And then open it. Is to hide it, we need to use magical wand tool. I'm showing you my personal tricks, guys. I think I literally discovered this part with Lasso. So by holding shift and pressing on this slider, which is here, I can select it just like this. Okay, I made the selection. Then I need to select inverse. Sorry, I need to select inverse. Right click, select inverse, and from them I can add ambient occlusion. Just like this. It will be very slightly, just take a look. And of course, I picked very dark, saturated color for this. Then right click, select inverse once again. I use this button on the pen for right click. And here we need to add B color gradient. on these teeth. So pick this color, make it more saturated, just a bit darker. Let's increase size of the brush. Don't press too much like this, and press slightly in order to add some kind of ambient occlusion from the bottom. Just press slightly, just like this. And if we press on Ctrl S, you'll see this result. You know, it works kind of like magic for people. And these are all of the steps that we need to repeat. So guys, let's go over them. Basically, this is before and after. Unfortunately, I didn't have a separate layer for this, but you can kind of see that we got very soft result from this lasso. After we have something like this, we can detail it just a bit more. And this is kind of the key. I promise to texture the entire part. I hope my throat will be okay. I'm not sure if I will survive another 2 hours. But anyways, these are the main principles that you can literally copy in order to texture anything. Let me know, guys, if that's useful, and we'll just move on to another one. Obviously, if you have some mistakes like this, just pick the color and go over them. Just go over. But this is kind of ideal texturing result that we need. Sometimes we can detail over it, and this will be fine. It's barely visible, but here you can see we have nice gradient on these teeth, so it's a bit orange. Guys, let me know if I need to texture some specific part, or do I need to talk about art theory. So I can talk about this a lot. I want to show you also some useful techniques that we have only in 3D code, how to texture it very fast. I will just click on edit. I will pick this angle, click on edit, edit projection in external editor, hide light map layer on top, new layer, and now if you're a concept artist, let's say, you can detail everything. So what can be detailed? Every time think about the connection between different materials, this one, nose to this, eyes to this, any kind of folds, try to continue them, ears as well, you can add folds here. Folds from this, you can barely see them, we have them on the scalp, but you need to make them more visible. I don't know, some details here, add ambient occlusion on this tongue as well. So let's actually make it real fast. First of all, I will kind of connect this, sorry, I will paint this kind of muscle here. I will slightly pick this color and just go over slightly and put some shadow around it. Just like this. Then I would like to detail this part with some lines. Always keep the direction of the object of every part. So don't paint in the opposite direction. I'll pick this one if I want to detail it, and I don't know, I will add some random folds like this. Even though maybe it doesn't make much sense, don't get too overexcited, because it can actually ruin your texture if you add too much of the details. Sometimes it's better not to paint at all. So this is kind of the difference. I'll continue here as well. I'll continue here. Yep, just continue these lines. Try to notice each of them. Try to notice each of the connection. Even here, like, I think we need to add some volume around this. Yep, just like this, and some shadows here. So instead of having connection like this, you can see. In this case, I kind of repaint it a bit, which is not a good idea. Let's say you have this nose. So we also have some volume that is very visible, and it kind of goes in the, like, we have it in the sculpt, but we need to indicate it a bit more on hand paint texture. So hand paint just need to emphasize the sculpt a bit more. That's it, guys. And let's detail the inner part a bit. It will be fine with the normal. Also take a look, I'm not pressing too hard, not rushing with the, like, with highlights, stuff like this. Very slightly. Yep, let's add it here. If we need to add some, by the way, right now this is very organic texturing, and by any chance you never need to rush with the contrast. Let's say you pick dark color and you try to paint with this dark color. Never make something like this. If it's organic, you literally need to start with these like very small lines which are barely visible at first, but it will be a key if you want to texture it really nice later. Actually, right now I will use some tricks to kind of add ambient occlusion from this part to this one. What else can we make? We can detail this part, the inner parts. I think that like for the stars, for this, like for what we have right now, that's completely fine. At this point, I'm just texturing randomly in my opinion. So not a good idea. If you want, you can add some pores like skin details. For this, you will need to pick darker color, first block the shadow, and then pick brighter color like the light, and then put the light on top of it, or the other way. Put some light, just like this, or highlights, and then pick darker color, put shadow below it. So it works kind of in the same way. If you press on Ctrl S, we will see the details projected right away. And as you can see right away, looks kind of like a Warcraft, League of type of Legend stuff that we need, kind of detailed because we didn't rush with the contrast. And that's the key. And the color base is correct. It did not take much time. How long did it take? Like 5 minutes? Also use Photoshop because brush is very soft. If I can try making it in 3D code, in Substance, just a bit harder for me. Also, we can continue stuff like this. Kind of, what do we need? Almost. Also, notice here I decided not to paint at all. I don't need much, to be honest. Maybe if I like zoom very closely, I can put also some shadow below this lip, because this lip, like the lip we have here, it will have some shadows. It will actually pop a bit. So we need to indicate it with the shadow, just like this. Yep, guys. You can see already kind of looks kind of detailed. Exactly what we need. I think I will texture the town a bit. Yeah, we don't have much in the concept here to understand, but we need to analyze. So how to texture this inner part of the mouth? We need to analyze the flow of the object. So it's round and it actually goes this way. Like doesn't make sense to like texture any kind of patterns this way. Actually here we have the mouth itself. Let's paint it like quest, just like this. Let's pick the color of the highlight. Let's put the highlight on top. If you don't know what to add, just put the highlight over the shadow. You won't miss. Just like this. And let's keep the flow. Actually, we already have kind of it here. And let's keep it with some round patterns. Just like this. Don't invent anything. Don't add any damage. Everything is round, so keep the round patterns. These kind of round lines. Alright, we have something like this, already closer. Yep, we're literally getting closer for this. I'm happy with the result. I can blend it together just so you can see the details. Yeah, it will be available, don't worry. Yep, guys. And I think I will literally texture tongue from my head. Just like this. Also, what do we have here? We have bottom part. Let's texture it real quick. even if you can see it, compare the difference between these. This looks a bit more finished compared to this. The only difference that I added very colorful gradient. That's very hard to add in Substance. Actually, let's add it right now, and let's save this file. Ctrl P. Right now I will texture over UVs. And what can we have? We have something like this. So we detailed it, but it's not finished, like if we talk about the gradients. So new layer for the gradients. Once you finish the detailing and pick color for the vertex color, I will select this teeth. I will pick this kind of orange color, make it even more saturated. So if you need to add ambient occlusion, make sure to make it saturated, just like this. And then increase size massively and add something like this on top of it. Also, there are different types of ambient occlusion. We have big color gradients, let's say like this. This is big color gradient. And we have the actual ambient occlusion, which is way smaller and way darker. But we also need to make it. The only difference will be like in literal opacity and the size. To explain it like briefly, on any object it's better to add color gradient. For example, in this case, from the bottom it will be colder. That's why I added orange, you can see below. And also, you have big color gradient from here, but you also need to add very small ambient occlusion, which will be darker, and it will kind of indicate the connection. Boom, boom, like here. And let's hide it with, I think that's enough. Inverse selection. Then pick this, make it darker. That's it. I'll also make, because here obviously you have UVs, I will make this part darker with ambient occlusion. It will be a bit darker from the eye. Also, if you really want, if you want to texture something very organic, you can make selection like this. Like this. And answering question by the adjoint, this is how you'll make it. First of all, you need very soft selection and it should be round. I use regular selection for this. And then you need to use soul brush and go over it, just around it, just like this. Yeah, it's a bit complex technique that I also teach in N-hance School. And actually in some of the tutorials on YouTube and on Instagram, like I share it. I was sharing it actually everywhere. And this is kind of the difference that you see right away. So before and after gradients, especially color gradients. You can see it's hard to edit in Substance right away. It will take more layers. But this is what will make the difference. It's tiny steps, but this will make very detailed texture, guys. We have 60 people, guys. If you follow along, or if you're just watching this, just let me know in the chat, just so I can know. Because I know there are many experienced artists watching this. Someone just don't show up in the comments. So guys, let me know, just so we can continue. Yeah, this part looks very flat. This is horrible mistake. This is like a one flat color. I mean, compared to this, just compare this part and this one, just horrible. So we need to make it a bit darker from like literally every angle here. So pick it and let's leave this bright color at least only on the top. This is the difference. But you need to make it on the color base, so kind of avoid this mistake. Boom, boom. Even like this. Yeah, it's hard to follow along. As I mentioned before, but I hope you can watch it later and it will be actually helpful, guys. Yep, I will push some, like, I will maybe fix some touches, but at this point, even if you can master all of these steps, the correct color base, which is a bit darker, the correct way to push these details just like this, color gradients, you'll achieve very nice results. And of course, for these results, this is actually what's in demand in the industry, especially if you can create 3D models as well. I mean, detail texturing like this, or at least texturing that will save you plenty of time, because it didn't take much time for me. And that's why this creature might take less than one working day. That's also fine. If you're starting out, it could take you even a week if you try to make every detail correctly, and that's fine. But yeah, also try to make as many shortcuts. If you're comfortable with projections, try to use it. Sometimes people can paint only in Photoshop, like literally only on UVs. Maybe only in 3D code. Just my goal to show you what's possible and kind of the approach that we have here. Let's texture the town. So press, once you have any details in 3D code, make sure to update it. Press Ctrl P once again. Here we have it. Let's see the wireframe. Okay, we need to make at least the selection for it. Nice. And I will actually, first of all, I think here, yeah, here I need to make it obviously darker. We need to have some ambient occlusion from this side. And then what else? Maybe in the middle, this kind of blind texturing, but I hope it works. I'll add some details just like this, just a blind texturing. Let's save it. All right. At least we added ambient occlusion here. And this connection is horrible. If you have something like this on your 3D models, just fix it. Let's at least add something like this, like quickly in 3D code, press Ctrl P. Also, you can paint over UVs in 3D code. I forgot to mention this, but I don't make it much. I would rather switch like between 3D code and Photoshop. Add ambient occlusion like this. Save. Yeah. And then let's say paint over. Turn this to kind of different patterns if you need it. Even to this. Some, I don't know, some weird stylized shit. Put some volume here. Some very tiny lines. And that's literally enough. Also, I didn't paint much. Keep everything very soft. Yeah, this one was pretty fast. It will be easier to explain this like one-to-one if you have very specific model. Keep in mind that every model is very specific. Try to actually think about the principles and just texture like in your abilities as you can. Sometimes you can skip some of the steps, like the detailing steps. Yeah. And guys, let's actually merge it down. Let's see the difference between the color base and what we have right now. Color base, what we have right now. This is what we need. If I will texture ears and eyes, you will see it even more. So let's actually make it real fast. I think I'll go to edit, edit projection, update, hide light map, new layer. And let's go over it. With selection, it might work in a weird way, but we'll see. Let's add ambient occlusion, which will be a bit darker here from the bottom. And let's actually add ambient occlusion all over it. Yep, just like this. And let's add, let's say, some highlights to at least indicate that this is some kind of eye. But actually, I would like to even paint eye that we don't even have in the concept, because on the concept it's kind of filled, and it's in the same way, like it's literally the same way as I painted, but we can make the shadow even colder, so closer to red, like make ambient occlusion even like this. And let's kind of make one highlight big one and one very small. This way. Maybe we can even turn this to the pupil. There are plenty of options how to make it. I will just rush a bit, sorry for this guys, but in this case I'll just rush because I want to show some other stuff as well. Also we can make, I don't know, some lizard eyes as well, you know, instead of round ones. It actually makes way more sense. And also it will be cool to add some actually blue reflection from the sky on it, maybe. Let's see. Some darker ambient occlusion. Just go. Yep. At this point it will be just a bit harder to follow along. And also in the ears. So here we have this edge. Maybe I will add some additional highlight on top of it, and I will turn it to some shape. So instead of having some simple highlight, we'll kind of have this shape, this kind of shape. I'll cut it this way. Yep. And inside of the ears, of course, we need to detail this stuff as well. Keep some principles like from real life, some anatomy principles. You can copy some of the patterns, like even visual patterns that you can recognize. For example, inside of the ears, we have this kind of round lines. So let's add it here. And let's add it. What else do we have in the concept? If you have something like this, it's also very easy to paint. And let's add very purple color, just like we have in the concept. Side here. Ctrl S. And yeah, that will literally make the work. This is kind of the way I will texture. This is the fastest way I found to texture it, guys. I'm not sure like if it makes sense to continue it. Maybe we can. I'll show you some tips, and I think we'll kind of wrap up it because we already, how many hours do we have here? Like 3 hours. We still have some people watching this. Yep. So if I merge it below, you'll see the difference before and after. This is what we usually need to make with the texture. As well, you don't need to be a professional painter, you just need to understand basic principles and don't make mistakes. Just like this. But of course you need to understand some light theory in order to follow it. Yep guys, thanks. This is basically what will make everything. We'll add folds here on the muscles as well. Even here I won't add much details. If you have something like this, some weird stuff, make sure to paint all over it. If you have even something like this, make sure to add highlights, or I mean shadow, to indicate some volume. Keep in mind that flat colors or some blurry colors, it's your main enemy. Just add a highlight or shadow on top of them, and you'll be completely fine. Yep. This is very satisfying process. This process couldn't be replaced by any kind of technology, if you know what I'm talking about. The reason behind this, because not only it's very detailed, this is exactly what we need in the games right now, but it's far away that you can kind of achieve procedurally, you know what I'm saying, like stuff like this. You already saw the model is very detailed, like so detailed, but still it's very hard to achieve it in the color base. Actually, it's impossible to achieve. Actually, we tried our best to achieve it. For some games, if you kind of push it a bit, it will be fine. I mean, with additional colors. The teeth, as you can see, Like they looks pretty nice, but still, this is something that you need to add. This is something that you can learn as a 3D artist and simply increase your rate, or just so there are some options. You can work only as a texture artist or as a 3D artist. Ideally, in the modern industry, it's better to work as a 3D artist and know all of these steps. Yep. And with color, the best part is color base. That you don't need to paint everything from scratch. Because on low poly, without color base, it's just a hell, if you can imagine this. Yeah, only 2 hours? That's pretty nice. Yep, guys. By the way, Ivana, are you Ivana actually from the hand paint course or not? Sorry, I forget. And by taking this chance and talking about organic texturing, I want to take this chance to actually show one stuff that we have from Edjan on personal mentorship that we have. So yeah, he is actually, I told him about the workshop. So this is stuff like from our course. So wait 1 moment. Yeah, we were texting back and forth. This is the result that he achieved. I have my personal mentorship when I like literally mentor people one-on-one, and we also have huge course material. So he was following along. And even before calls, one-on-one calls, we need to make sure that you understand everything and to build confidence before actually applying anything. I mean, before making your own model. So, okay, he asked me this question. I want to reply it real quick. So he asked me that he didn't use any lasso and everything looks too soft, as you can see. But if he used lasso, everything appears too hard and I can see soft gradients, but the only problem that he didn't add darker gradients below it. And then he fixed it, but kind of not entirely. So let's take a screenshot of it. This work is from the hand paint course. Let's add new image. This is just a nice example on how to use. This is very important technique, guys. Another reason, like people arguing, why do you use Photoshop? I will show you why. So here we have this lasso, yeah. We can have regular lasso. We can make any kind of selection. So I can just let my hand go. You don't need to make it slowly because this way it will be kind of messy. Try to make your hand, just let go your hand, just like this. So let's say we have selection like this. I'll try to, yeah, follow it like this. So the problem that it's not organic or soft enough. So let's take it step by step. First of all, we'll need to fill everything with just color that he already had. So with just one color or color from the color base. So let's say it will have something like this. So first of all, we have something like this. Then you pick this color, make it, of course, a bit more saturated, but also colder. So just shift it to red. He made it correctly. We can actually pick this color here. And over this lasso, only with a soft brush, you need to paint slightly. And you don't need to paint very hard on it. Paint slightly. The only problem here that the contrast between light and shadow is too big for organic objects, guys. So let's just paint it very slightly. Then pick this color, make it brighter, warmer of course, every light is warmer, and just slightly tap once. Don't paint much, it's just slightly tap here and let's say here. If I remove it, you'll see we kind of get this result. Yeah, I painted over here, so we got this weird line, but this is kind of ideal way to texture level. Also, I noticed this mistake that, yeah, the contrast just too high for this. Just remove it. It will be already way better, way softer. And let's actually answer some of the questions. So you'll probably get something like this, or you'll have it here on your creature, like literally same stuff. So let's make a selection just like this at first. Then I will pick color for the shadow and I will slightly block it. Literally just like this. Actually, if I remove it, yeah, it will be sharp, kind of weird maybe. And one cool thing, how to fix it, we need to paint it on the separate layer. I suggest to use eraser. But this part I actually mess it up. Let's come back. It's very important to organize layers when you paint organic stuff. So paint over it, just like this, add a shadow. Now we have a volume. Here we can see, like, this is very nice way of painting any kind of liquid stuff like this. I will use a razor to remove it a bit on the top. I will zoom closely, and I will use small eraser just to blend a bit and to erase a bit of the sharp line of the shadow. That's how simple it is. Just understanding how the brushes work. We have soft razor, we have less on saw brush. And this is kind of the ideal in the middle sharp result that we need. Let's also try with this one. Yep. Let's make it even more saturated. I'll just make everything way softer. Yeah. Okay, we have some weird stuff like this. Maybe not weird. This is just, I would say, the only issue that you didn't add soft gradient from the bottom. If you have something like this, by the way, go back, you can keep the selection, select inverse, I did it in the course as well, and paint the same color outside of the selection, so at least we have ambient occlusion below it. Yep, this is exactly what we need. Exactly how we paint any kind of organic materials. And then use a razor to remove very sharp line. And that will be it, guys. This is how you can paint any kind of organic stuff. Very simple, and this is another reason why I use Photoshop, just to speed up this. Or you need very advanced skills in order to paint here. So let's say in Substance, in Blender, whatever. So at first you need to reduce opacity, block shadow very slightly blend it, like try to press as slightly as you can. Just like this. Very slightly. Pick highlight. Yep, this is kind of another way, but it will be a bit sharper. And you can see, even for experienced artists, it will be hard to paint compared to something like this. Okay, guys, we have 26 people. Only for you guys, we wanted to share. By the way, Olia, are you watching this stream right now? Or not? Because I was talking for some time about this stuff and about mentorship and the course that we have. So this one is only just one step, like one material practice. Yeah. So this is only one material practice from our course. Guys, if you're watching this right now, we actually will share the promo code just in case if you want to enroll in today. It will work only today and it will work on every course. Only for this workshop. And here, only for people who didn't left us. So, Olia, can you please share it? Just share this message. And also you can share like our contacts if you want to work with me directly, guys. Like the way we work, let's say, with Pavel or with anyone else. I'm in Vietnam, so I can't even load the VPN. So I was working with Pavel, and if you remember, we got this work. And it was pretty viral on LinkedIn. So if you want to work directly with me or to check our scope, right now we will have a discount, 20% discount, only if you're watching this right now. And actually, I think in the description of the live stream, you'll find it as well, if you want to just improve your progress. So we have personal mentorship. It's very in detailed. It's different from any kind of course program. I actually take every step of your progress. I mean, even the presentation, you can see I gave a feedback. make sure everything is correct. Yeah, it takes plenty of time. Mentorship, of course, is way more expensive than any kind of course, but it's worth it. As you can see, we took plenty of renders. And if we go back then, I'm not sure if I can see the messages, but yeah, if I go back then, you'll see how it started. Literally mentorship on every step, including 3D, but we have course only on texturing and rendering and presentation. For 3D, we have other artists. Here you can see. Yep. Yep. So you can literally message us for these links, or you can visit the N-hance School. I will try to share the website. Or I think, guys, I will just share it in the Discord. I think we have it already here. Only if you want to enroll with this limited discount. It's 25% with this promo code if you want to work directly. By the way, we started with this concept. I will go to this. Here we have it. Then we already have this one. We have it here. We have some students here. But these, even some of these are old works. These were made by Ivan, also from the course. So tried my best to record this stuff. You can see many of the stuff. This one is another example. This guy was literally junior. He haven't tried any kind of texturing before. Yeah, we have different kind of people. So I will just share it here, guys. Wait. I will just share it. Give me one moment and we'll come back. We have a code, 25%. Usually we don't share it because on some courses we already have limited spots, but this code will add another discount and it's limited for 10 people. And actually only today if you're watching this. So just feel free to check it out because we have different stuff. And yeah, if you want to join mentorship, feel free to message us directly with the links that you have. And I'll just type, let's say 25% off. And yeah, one day. I'll just share the link if you want to check it. Also, if you followed me, I never share this code anywhere. So if you want to enroll during the next one day, just feel free to make it. Yep. What else? Actually, mentorship is pretty interesting. Like, mentorship is completely different program. You'll find the website, you'll find it. But as I said, if you want to join or just learn more about the mentorship, just feel free to try it. Also, sometimes if I feel that the model isn't good enough, like in this case, we'll kind of skip it. Because the book was the right decision. This one, I'm not sure. Yeah. We pick the models, of course, but only once we feel confident. Only once you enroll. Usually you will go over art theory on the mentorship. I will give feedbacks. And only then you should at least complete one model from the course. And only then we can work on your models. Just to get the best result. And we don't rush, of course. So kind of flexible. Yep, guys. Only if you're watching this workshop right now. Some people will watch it on the recording and it won't work. It will be only for one day. So for next 24 hours. Yep. Damn, I was actually impressed that I haven't textured in 10 days. No, the last time I was texturing were 4 days ago because I was moving to another apartment. And yeah, just trying to texture this feels so good. It just feels so good just to come back to this, you know? And when you take it step by step, nicely, when you step by step see this result, I would say the kind of the last lesson, literally don't try to make your life overcomplicated. If something doesn't really go well, or if you're struggling with something, maybe you need to change a bit of the approach. But you'll always struggle a bit at first with painting these highlights. It would be just a bit unusual for you to move your hands or to literally place any of them. One tip, try to make your moves short, just like this. Don't paint with one constant line, like don't paint stuff like this. Try to make it kind of short and just find your way to make the visual result. So it doesn't matter if you copy my moves, you just need to get the visual final result. Doesn't matter what way. Thousands layers in substance. Thousands, I don't know, highlights, or just one layer. Or if you're a professional artist, you can paint literally with one brush in 3D code. Doesn't matter. You just need to achieve a nice final result and put it in your portfolio. That's all that matters. Yeah, and also I forgot to mention, if you already enrolled in any course, yeah, this code is applied. But on the new products, on any products, and actually, yeah, we have big discounts for those who already joined any of our courses. You can just keep it, or you can message us with the links. Maybe even for future stuff. But I was planning to make something, but actually I think I will stick to the courses that we have right now. Yep. If you're already in the school, just keep this code. You can message us with the links and just keep it if you're already enrolled. Yep. What do we have here? Actually, let's compare it to the concept. It's 1 a.m. on my time. Yeah, not that exact, but we're getting closer, guys. Very close. Can't I join to have will it also be a stream like today? Yeah, we'll invite Adrian, also one of our mentors, for modeling stream for character art. Yep. Yep. We have 54 people, which is very cool right now. What else can I add? Because I literally showed most of the part. The process will be pretty straightforward, except pushing and finalizing the texture, which is pretty interesting. It's a bit different topic. After you have your details and gradients in place, one cool way to push the texture will be like additional color gradients and also overlay. You can literally make it in any kind of software, in Substance, in 3D code, new layer, increase size of the brush, only after you have all the details. Keep this in mind. Let's pick overlay. So change opacity to overlay. Overlay can lead the texture. It can change color. It can basically make everything. So if I pick not a very saturated color like this, because this way it will be very weird. If I decrease its saturation, and if I tap, I will kind of lit it up. So definitely we need to add it in our focus parts, especially on the eyes, maybe on top on the ears, to make it just a bit brighter. And this is small difference. Try to notice this, guys. Very small difference with overlay, and the same way we can add big dark post process. So let's say in the mouth, just like this. I'll change it to purple. I'll add it big like this. This way I can also, let's say, add it here on the sides. And this is kind of small difference. And you can literally make a post process by simply slightly pressing with a big brush and overlay. We need bright warm overlay and dark cold one. And once you have details, that's literally it, as you can see. Very straightforward, just like this. But of course, depends on the model. If you're talking about mentorship, we're working directly on your models. I just want to mention mentorship because many people didn't know that we have it. But usually it's the most effective plan in order to achieve some of the works and even find a job. Because we have many people who found a job after 3 months of mentorship. Or at least get enough likes on our station to get some test tasks. because nowadays it's pretty tough to get in the industry without test tasks. Sorry, guys. The oh, crazy. Yes, but anyways, guys, just feel free to ask any questions, and we'll have more of these live streams. We have many people here, but actually, guys, if you're watching this right now, I think we can kind of wrap up it. I hope it was useful, but I can give some feedbacks or paint overs on your models or your textures. Just feel free to share them literally in Discord to have it in our community. I can give you some feedbacks or paint over feedbacks. Just feel free to share it. If you need, of course. And if you're brave enough. Yeah, we have 60 people. So guys, right now, feel free to share your texture or just a screenshot or render, ideally even unlit render of your texture. So I can give some feedback. And sometimes it's literally, like if you have already experience, it's enough to give you 4 feedbacks to push the quality a lot of your texture. If you already have experience, of course. Let me know. Oh, yeah, I will wait for this. Yeah, you can share it right in this Discord in the chat. By the way, I forgot that we literally need to add gradients here as well. And this is just a prime example on how to add it. Like this ton. Very soft object, like straightforward. Just take a look at this difference before and after. Like completely different thing. And also overlay is very nice for changing colors. Make some parts warmer like this if you need it. This before, after. Shadow gradients, is it a good way to go right at least before? Wait, I need to understand this question. So when it comes to the Warhol highlights, shadows, gradients, is it a good way to go? Yeah, of course. Yep. But actually, Adrian, you don't need to worry about because we'll go over every step here with you and also in the course as well. Of course, the most important part is color base. The correct, not too bright, not even too dark. Just like we add here, so later on we can add highlights on top, just like I add highlights here. If you notice, the model itself in some parts will get a bit brighter. This way might be not the case because it's very organic. But the color base is very important step. It will define most of the stuff. And only then, just some principles of detailing. Thinking about the curvature, the connection of the objects, and how you can continue the patterns and add highlights if you need it. It's actually no, it's almost 2 a.m. in my country as well. Yeah, no problem. Okay, let's actually give some. Damn, we already have some results here. Oh, that's nice. I mean, so far everything nice, but I can definitely. Yeah, let's save it. Save it. I can already see that you added gradients. New layer. and you're definitely on the right track. First of all, I suggest not to add very repetitive elements like this, or like any useless elements. If you notice, I didn't paint much, or like I haven't time to paint on this, but don't add literally random brushes. Like if the part is soft and it's in the bottom, you don't need to add much of the highlights. So I mean, I kind of notice these highlights. So what I will make here, I will kind of simplify it and actually make it even softer. Maybe I will come back it later on, or I will keep the direction. I will actually make the patterns this way. So kind of the same way that we already have in this part, So keep the direction, and this will be way better for the design. You can kind of compare the difference if you want to detail this. And here as well, later on. Then, the one thing, yeah, all you need is to blend these highlights, very small highlights, a bit more. The way you blend any kind of color is possible. So we have this very bright color. Just pick it and press very slightly. So if you have very sharp color like this, you just need to pick it. And the idea that you press very slightly and you kind of go over the borders. Then you pick neighbor color. So the blending of two colors is literally one color, another. And if you use soft brush or just regular brush in 3D code, you pick this color, you go over it, you get new values, completely different values. Instead of kind of 2 values, you get maybe 50 values. So it's like, it's tiny, but you can see the values are changing here. We have soft gradient. So pick this color, blend it a bit. Pick this one a bit, blend it as well, blend it once and once again. And this way, by constantly picking colors and constantly picking like neighbor colors, then this color once and once again, and constantly pressing slightly, you'll get this result. Like you can get very soft result. The same way you need to apply on the highlights. So not leave very hard round highlights like this. Instead press and slightly blend it. Pick once again, slightly blend it over. Yeah, and you can see not only you'll get more values, but also will be just slightly blended, and you'll keep the highlights. And there is no need to make it very sharp. Also, yeah, you definitely need to add some darker line below it. In order to separate this and this part, I just want to add a bit darker line, also press it very slightly and indicate the shadow below, and then make a selection with lasso and put ambient occlusion here. You can see the difference very slightly. So the only difference here that you need to blend your colors more. This is like the most common mistakes that we have with the students. Just blend your colors more, pick constantly in order to make it detailed. And here I notice I can already see that you added some color gradients, but it should be way more saturated if you add gradients like this. So just make it way more saturated. In this case, it's red, especially on the shadows, to make it more artistic. You can see red will make kind of the difference here, especially from the distance. And also I noticed you added light gradient, added only on the top. You added also in the side, and this is also not a good idea. It's kind of overlit everywhere, but it should be only in the top, only in this place, not here. And that's literally it. Yeah, so far what I can see. Also wanted to share one tip. If you need some extra deep detalization, you need to press harder and you need to zoom closely and just decrease size of your small brush. So I can have the same details. Like once I have enough values, I actually can break the rows and I can make everything way sharper, just like this. So even if I want to add some extra very tiny detail detalization, I'll need to go a bit harder on it, just like this. You can see this is before and after, but only once you zoom in and you make your brush way smaller. And if you need big gradient, you increase size of the brush. Don't paint with something in the middle. So of course with this brush, you can paint any texturization. It's possible to paint only with this brush, yeah? If you need to add bigger gradient or change color entirely, let's say here, just use big brush. And you can see I can even make a post process just like this by pressing slightly. You won't even see that I actually painted with yellow color. If I press it here, you won't even see it. It's very slightly. I hope it helps. And yeah, guys, if you want to learn this actually professionally at a good level, feel free to click the links under this live stream or just in the Discord if you actually want to learn this in kind of professional level and step by step from art theory to all the other stuff. Yep, if you have any other works or your personal works, feel free to share them as well. And we'll wrap up soon. It was a bit shorter than I expected. I thought we'll have like 5 hour stream, but yeah, that's fine. I won't survive 5 hours actually, I think. Nice. We already have some people. Tadia didn't finish at the time. Yeah, definitely have some stuff to feedback here. Also, if you're watching this in the recording, guys, it's also very important just to watch it because anyways, later on you'll need to like make it or you'll have kind of same mistakes. First of all, yeah, I can definitely see that you try to paint from scratch. Even if you have low poly model, just use Substance Painter and use color base because you need to repaint all of these values or you need to paint them from complete scratch. And I suggest to use only soft brush for this. So the best way is to create literally soft color base, like we did in the beginning of the live stream. And the face is fine, but the leather, yeah, you just need literally, you can create color base with light generators with simple diffuse. In few steps, it will look just way better. Just try it, even on low poly. Even if you don't have maps. Then you don't have shift in the hue, so your highlights should be more, it should be warmer than shadows, or shadows should be colder. Or you have it. No, not really. So let's add it a bit. I'll add a bit blue to shadows, and we'll need to make everything softer. But in this case, I actually need to repaint much of the stuff. I just want to show you that, yeah, everything, especially the leather, should be just way softer, just like this. Especially these folds. And we need to use the same lasso technique that I showed before. Yep. Let's make it real fast. I'll add some random stuff like this. Just real fast, okay? Because you can see the difference in the values. We definitely need to like decrease the contrast, and that will work. Same for this one. Yeah, literally same for this one. It's better to leave it like all of these brush strokes unnecessary. Don't need to waste time on this. Just keep it simple. And also you, damn, I went a bit too hard on this. Yep. No need to add so many of the details because it takes attention from the face. So definitely need to visually, you can see, kind of visually simplify it and make it way more simple. Just quick over paint. For the face, you definitely need to decrease light here on the nose, just blend it with the soft brush and decrease light. Like the face shouldn't be kind of overlit like this. If I go over, you can already see the difference. Looks a bit more organic without very bright light. The lips are completely fine. Maybe I'll make this top lip a bit warmer and colder, just like this. I'll add some makeup, some colorful gradients below it. definitely even reduce light here, and even reduce shadow. So way more organic, as you can see, it will look. And reduce light even more here. Eyes are a very important area, so you definitely need to have some of the contrast or push eyes a bit with additional color, or at least with colorful gradients. And highlight, of course, on the eyes should be pure white. It should be very visible and bright. You can see already the difference. Hope it helps. Yep. These are some tips. And guys, I want to share it. Let's go over. Where can we go over? Yeah. We in the texturing course and also in the character course, we have separate slides. For this, it's also complex knowledge on how to paint faces. I need a separate workshop for this. And put them. Can I open the file, please? But wait one moment, I will save this one, of course. And I will put this in the separate one. I hope it will work. Yep, this is what we textured in the texturing course. Step by step. So if you want to join, learn it, even if you don't have much of the experience, it will be completely possible from the color base to final result, just like we have here. And to be honest, pretty fast. In 2 hours, we made this. So guys, just feel free to check it out. The link that we have. Do we have any other works? Yeah, nice. I like this part, even though can add a bit more details. I like this one. Just need to add a bit more details with tiny brush stroke. But I think I can give a feedback separately for you, Adrian, or on your work that you already had. But just a nice start. And also, I like how soft it is. You know, the interesting part, like sometimes you don't need to detail much. Even stuff like this could be enough for some games. Experienced artists will understand, like sometimes you don't need to detail too much. Maybe you can add a bit of post-process and that will be enough. If the sculpt is very good. Like it will work with the normal. But yeah, if we want to push it even more, we'll need to add additional details. Guys, we have 50 people here. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask them and we'll kind of wrap up it. Also, if you want to share your work for the feedback, just feel free to share it in the Discord. And yeah, that will be it. Let's go back to this one. Yep. This is kind of the difference that we have. Change a bit. Got it. Unfortunately, I can't even open our station right now. Okay, we have another work. Yeah, as I mentioned, I can't open our station because I'm in Vietnam currently, traveling, and our station is blocked here. Literally. So you can share your work mushroom bar. Jasper, you can share it like a screenshot here. Or I can take this one. Like this part, I like this part. I definitely understand. I like some stuff that I see. This one is nice, could be improved. Have you used my technique with soft gradients? Because it looks like this. I can see it. I can see this technique from a mile away, you know. The only thing that I can suggest you as well is to just work on the sharpness. Like the pipeline is fine. You have very slight dirt in the texture, and I'll just show you how to fix it by simply as well picking a bit more of the colors and with a bit tinier highlights, and also with cutting color just like this. I'll pick it, I'll cut it, I'll pick color for the highlight, I'll make this highlight just a bit more, so try to get rid of very tiny lines. Sometimes you can use them, but yeah. Let's say something like this. You can leave it, but I'll just go over with a bit softer brush. Maybe your brush is too hard. So you have just a bit dirt in your texture, but everything else is very nice. What do I mean by dirt? Like, one moment, I'll fix it real quick. Some kind of letters, like even like this. Maybe it's kind of the brush that you're using. Blend it a bit more. Maybe sharpness on top of it. So the only solution here is to decrease size of the brush and go over it with a small and kind of a bit softer brush. Here as well. I think it's kind of sharpness. But you can see the difference kind of before and after. I'm talking about this type of that you have. It's very slight, but art leads, art directors, they will see it, so I will also try to remove. First of all, I will kind of fill the light sides, so try to even get rid of these lines, kind of fill them, but then let's say even this line, if I take the silhouette, it will be just a bit dirty, it will go like this. Pick this neighbor color and go a bit harder with this, like with these moves, with one short move directional like this. This is what I'm talking about, like just a bit, we need to make it everything a bit curvy. And if you make it everywhere, including this part, it will look just so nice. This one as well, like even the line here, if I pick it, just a bit smoother. Like even here you can see, very tiny detail, but it will matter once you hit it. Everything else is fine. I don't suggest to add repetitive elements. For me, here, this one, this one, this one is some repetitive elements that take attention from the object. I will leave it here. Maybe I will make this part a bit kind of chunkier. Like I will make this damage a bit bigger. Instead of, I will make sure that it follows the direction. So not go straight like this. It kind of follows the direction of this object. So I will keep the direction just like this in this part. This one actually follows the direction, pretty nice. And I need to kind of break the elements. I want to break them here. I like this part. And this one also I would like to make it more directional to this side. What do we have right now? Yep. So if we notice, like basic principle of the design, if we have similar objects, it's just better to have one object, or like smaller object, bigger, it's just big, medium, small shapes rule. Instead of having kind of repetitive visual elements, we have something like this. So in this case, our focus will be on this part. And we kind of make it here this way. Just break it down in terms of design. Hope it helps. Yep, guys, that's what I'm talking about. This stuff takes me years to learn and years of feedbacks just to understand this analyzation process. If you're interested, today, like you can enroll in our school, as I mentioned, with discount that we have right here. So if you just joined, this is the discount that we have for any product. on top of any other discount that we have. Yep. And it will just simply speed up your time. Wait, what do we have? Ah, yeah, this is the wrong channel. Wrong channel. Nice. So I hope this is basic design tip, but very promising work in the right direction actually. One thing that I notice here, this part is actually very important, but you have tiny line here. You know I'm against these tiny lines. So this part is actually important as well. It's very big, it's on top. It was very important to texture it as well, possible. Crystals, we have theory on texturing crystals. Maybe I have it even in the Instagram. I suggest to add caustics here and kind of change the light on the crystals. But in general, like promising fine. Here definitely the color in the shadows should be orange for the gold. And you can literally apply literally the same principles from the workshop. Literally the same principles. I noticed that sometimes I think you paint too much, maybe you paint from scratch, which makes everything way harder. Guys, every time just create color base. It will help you a lot. Even if you have experience in painting, just create color base and substance, even on low poly models. No, unfortunately for simple diffuse not. Or, I don't know, but we don't have it right now on simple diffuse. I think you can message us on WhatsApp. We have the link above. And just all of you will reply about this. Yeah. Guys, I'm already a bit tired. I will keep in mind. Yeah, you're welcome. Guys, I think that will be it if we don't have any feedbacks left. Yeah, I don't think we have, but if you have some work to share, just feel free to share it, and we will wrap up this stream at this point. Actually, later we'll have another texturing stream, but on a simpler object, so we can follow along. I also want to record some tutorials in Blender. I want to try OcuPaint. I need to try many stuff. I need to try new substance features, also Blender, or I need to also talk to artists who understand Blender as well. So we'll have very interesting live streams and workshops very soon, guys. 2K. The size of the texture is just 2K in most cases. If we talk about indie projects, Roblox projects, it's just 2K. Oh, it's just 1K. For this type of games, it's just 2K. But every time you need to work on 2K and then you can optimize it to 1K or to stuff like this. Yep. Let's actually share it right now in the Discord. I want to share. Boom. This one. And for the color base. Boom. This one as well. Yep. Guys, I think we'll wrap up soon. Thank you a lot for watching this. Just I hope it was useful. Yeah, this video will be saved. I hope so. I hope I enable. If I forgot to enable this, but yeah, don't worry, it will be saved on YouTube, of course. You can watch it later. Yep, guys. That I think that will be it. Yeah, I thought about texturing the entire stuff, but yeah, it will take some time. Then maybe we need a second live stream for this. But I didn't expect that it will take some time. But yeah, just sometimes you just need to take your time, be a bit patient, and patient. Yeah, it will just take over time. By the way, this is not very hard to learn, literally. I want to show you one stuff. What do we have? I don't know. I'll just jump to some random. Okay, this is some random feedbacks that you see right here. I think you actually wrote in the course, like from the chat. So first of all, we have this work. You can see as the beginning in the course. This is standard plan and paint texturing course. Standard plan exercises. And this is our typical feedback channel. Yeah, it's just started. Some people don't submit. Let's go over some guys that I know. Yeah, this one, in this case, we had plenty of feedbacks. Over paint feedbacks, paint over. Yeah, this one also. As you can see, this is basic art theory. Takes some time, but this is something that you need to fix and that you need to dive deep. Once you go over it, just so easy to make it. Yeah, I remember this one as well when we started, and if we go back, like these are all of the paint over feedbacks, literally the way I did right now, but we have plenty of them. And if we go to the very beginning, you will see how it started, kind of like this. And you saw there like this. I mean, that's fine for the beginning. And guys, you saw the result that we had. And also this one.